How did a robber with a 180 IQ pull off a bank heist? On the surface, it looked like a robbery, but they didn't take a single dollar. Stranger still, they made all the hostages strip down. Was it some kind of assault? Actually, no. Throughout the entire ordeal, they never harmed a soul. When police finally stormed the building, they were shocked to find no robbers inside. The weapons recovered turned out to be nothing but toy guns. The money was untouched, the hostages were unharmed, and the whole thing seemed like it never happened. But here's the thing. These guys had already walked away with gains worth $5 billion. So how did they do it? The mastermind was a man named Owen. He first disguised himself as an ordinary worker and waltzed right into the bank. Once inside, he used infrared equipment to jam and disable the security cameras. Shortly after, his accomplices filtered in one by one and locked the front doors behind them. A security guard noticed something was off and started walking over, only to feel the cold steel of a gun pressed against his back. And just like that, the carefully orchestrated operation was underway.
Everybody get down on the fucking floor, now! You have 4 seconds. Anyone still standing gets shot. 1, 2, 3.
Within minutes, they had complete control of everyone inside. Meanwhile, a passing patrol officer spotted something unusual through the bank's windows and immediately called for backup. Before long, a swarm of SWAT officers had the entire building surrounded. But Owen didn't flinch. Everything was going exactly according to plan. He then ordered his crew to confiscate all the hostages' phones and keys, and told them to change out of their clothes into matching outfits the crew had prepared. The robbers put on the same outfits and masks. This way, even if police launched an assault, they'd have no idea who was a robber and who was a hostage. On top of that, they scattered the hostages across different rooms and randomly shuffled them around, making the situation even more chaotic. At the same time, some of the robbers disguised themselves as hostages and blended into the rooms, casually chatting with the people around them. The goal? To make the hostages subconsciously remember their presence. Later, when police questioned everyone one by one, these robbers would be mistaken for victims. Some hostages would even vouch for them. During all this, an elderly man suffered a heart attack from the stress. Surprisingly, Owen immediately had him escorted out of the bank to receive medical treatment. On one hand, this showed a certain humanitarian gesture that helped calm the hostages. On the other, it was a subtle taunt at the police. By all logic, after setting everything up, the crew should have started the actual robbery. But strangely, Owen showed zero interest in the piles of cash lying around. He glanced at the more valuable safe deposit boxes, and still didn't make a move. Instead, he walked into a storage room, looked around, and muttered, "Perfect." He then ordered his men to move the shelves aside and start breaking through the floor. As for what they were really after, almost no one could have guessed until the very end. Meanwhile, on the outside, police had brought in their most experienced negotiator, John, to take command of the scene. John tried reaching Owen by phone, but got no response. The surveillance cameras had already been knocked out, leaving him completely blind. Just when he was at a loss, Owen suddenly released a hostage, with a large box strapped around her neck. Fearing explosives, police handled it with extreme caution. But when they opened it, all they found was a letter from Owen. It laid out his demands. 2 buses filled with gas and a fully fueled helicopter must be provided by 9 p.m., or 1 hostage would be executed for every hour of delay. Soon after, another note came out. 50 hostages need food. We want KFC. John saw an opportunity and had a listening device hidden inside a pizza box before sending it in. It worked. Soon they picked up the robbers' conversation, but it was in a foreign language no one could understand. They reached out for help and eventually identified it as Albanian. After further analysis, though, they realized it wasn't the robbers talking at all. It was a recorded speech by a former Albanian president. The police had been played. Right around then, the bank's chairman arrived on scene. For a man of his wealth, a robbery at one of his branches should have been a minor inconvenience, hardly worth his attention. Yet he looked extremely nervous. That told everyone one thing: this bank was hiding something big. And through all this chaos, the robbers still hadn't touched any cash. That is, until Owen gave the order to open safe deposit box 392. Inside was a critical document, a batch of diamonds sealed in black bags, and a red box. Clearly, this was what they had been after all along. The chairman completely lost his composure, because it was his personal safe deposit box. That document contained his darkest secret. In a panic, he immediately contacted a professional fixer named Judy, hoping she could negotiate with the robbers and get the document back. Judy was no ordinary PR person. After taking the job, she quickly pulled strings with the mayor, who then pressured Police Commander John to cooperate with her investigation and negotiation. John had no choice but to try contacting Owen again, and this time, Owen actually picked up. Judy introduced herself, making it clear she represented neither the bank nor the police, but she could give him what he wanted, and they could discuss the details face to face. Without hesitation, Owen agreed to meet. When they sat down, Judy got straight to the point. She was there for the document. If Owen handed it over, she'd guarantee his safe escape and throw in $10 million after the fact. In Judy's mind, this was a generous offer. Owen had no reason to refuse. It was clearly the best deal he could get. But to her surprise, Owen brushed it off with near contempt. Then he told her a story. During World War II, he said, There was a profiteer who built a fortune by exploiting desperate people. He even betrayed a friend to steal a priceless diamond ring. Eventually, this man used his ill-gotten wealth to start a bank. Obviously, that profiteer was the bank's chairman, and the document Owen had? It was the key evidence that could expose all his crimes. Owen made it clear he would never hand it over. This document represented the truth and the hope of those victims. He also reminded Judy that if he got caught, she and her employer would go down with him. With that, Owen escorted Judy out of the bank. The moment she stepped outside, John rushed over demanding to know what they'd discussed, but Judy refused to say a word. Furious, John contacted Owen again, claiming the buses and helicopter were ready but insisting on verifying the hostages' safety first. So he demanded to enter the bank himself. Owen knew John was bluffing, but agreed anyway. John went inside, saw all the hostages, and confirmed they were safe for now. Then he decided to take a risk. As he was leaving, he suddenly lunged at Owen, trying to rip off his mask, but another robber stopped him just in time. John fully expected to die right there, but Owen simply let him go. This made John misjudge the situation. He figured Owen was all bark and no bite, unwilling to actually kill anyone. He reported this back to his team, and police began preparing to storm the bank. But then everything flipped. Owen suddenly called the police and told them to look outside. Right before their eyes, he shot and killed a hostage. John watched it happen and was completely stunned. Just moments ago, he'd been negotiating with the man. Now this. His assessment had been dead wrong. Soon, the police chief arrived on scene and immediately stripped John of command, handing control to the SWAT captain. After assessing the situation, the captain decided to launch an assault. But with robbers and hostages dressed alike, identification was nearly impossible. The plan was to fire rubber bullets to drop everyone, then sort out who was who afterward. Just as they were about to move in, John stumbled onto a critical clue. The box the robbers had sent out earlier contained a listening device. That meant every word the police had said, including their assault plan, had been overheard. John tried to stop the captain, but the captain pressed on, blowing the bank doors open. By then, Owen had already set the stage. He threw smoke grenades to create chaos, then ordered all hostages to put on masks and evacuate. His crew dropped their weapons and slipped out with the hostages. As everyone flooded out, police detained the entire crowd. John and the SWAT team rushed inside and found nothing. No robbers, no trace of anyone. Even more baffling, the cash was untouched, and the weapons were just toys. In the bathroom, they found a bloody hood rigged with a fake blood device. That's when the truth hit them. The execution had been staged all along. Back at the station, police began questioning each hostage one by one, taking photos and comparing identities to weed out any robbers hiding among them. But because the robbers had been mingling with hostages the whole time, identification was nearly impossible. Even when they zeroed in on a few suspects, other hostages stepped forward to vouch for them. Every lead fell apart. The investigation hit a dead end. To make matters worse, there was no money stolen and no one was hurt. On paper, this so-called bank robbery might as well have never happened. Eventually, the chief decided it wasn't worth pursuing further and told John to close the case. But John couldn't accept that. Something about this whole thing didn't add up. The robbers wouldn't have gone through all that trouble just to cause chaos. They had to have a deeper motive. So he kept digging and soon discovered something strange in the safe deposit box records. Over several decades, there was no trace of box 392 ever existing. He immediately headed to the bank to verify. Right then, inside the bank's storage room, a figure slowly crawled out from behind the shelving. It was Owen, the mastermind. He hadn't escaped with the hostages at all. He'd been hiding in that room the entire time, lying low for 7 full days. His real goal was to use that time to quietly smuggle out the diamonds and the document. The reason they'd stalled so long inside the bank was to completely remodel the storage room, move the shelves forward slightly, then put up panels to create a hidden compartment. And the hole they'd dug in the floor? Not an escape tunnel, just a decoy. The whole plan looked chaotic on the surface, but every detail had been meticulously calculated. As Owen left the bank, he ran right into John, who was rushing in. He didn't dodge. In fact, he deliberately bumped into John, then calmly walked to his car and reunited with his crew. Later, John opened safe deposit box 392. Inside was a diamond ring and a note that read, "Follow the ring." Clearly, this was a trail left by Owen. He had already figured out that John was honest and capable, so he intentionally left the ring behind, hoping John would follow the clues and expose the chairman's crimes. John didn't disappoint. He cracked the case, the chairman was arrested and sent to prison, and John earned a promotion. Back home, he absent-mindedly reached into his pocket and found a small diamond. That's when it clicked. The man who had bumped into him that day was Owen. And this diamond? Probably Owen's reward for solving the case.